I'm interested to see this one. I'm interested to see, like, her screaming, Rob Schneider is a freaking
Yeah,
racist.
that's pretty much all it's going to be. So it's 20 minutes of Maggie Mae rambling on and on about racism and sexism and God knows what else. So anyway, let's get going. Hey guys, welcome to Smudcast number 504, the Schneidecker Paradox, the real Rob plus an evening with Tim Heidecker. I don't know what all that means, but I think this is going to be a look at the world of Rob Schneider, the comedian, I believe. I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Adam's the man who's tied to Adam Sandler's hip for everything except for Grown Ups 2. That one he said, I'm above this.
Yeah, no, he's one of those. I remember him from Saturday Night Live, I think, and a bunch of random bit parts, and then yeah, for sure, Adam Sandler movies as well. But I haven't seen him in the past 10 years. I don't know what he's up to. So
I don't know either.
yeah, so I bet this is going to be an attack on just comedians in general, not necessarily Rob Schneider, because lots of people make jokes that are racially loaded, and that's pretty normal these days, especially these days, because we have all kinds of comedians just saying whatever the hell they want. They don't give a shit. And
I like, what's his name, Bill Burr.
oh yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. Like he actually went on all those, I wouldn't say black TV shows, but black comedy circuits, and he would talk about growing up in Harlem or this or that. I think he was in Boston. He grew up, but he went to New York and he visited all these other cities, and he dated black women. He's really into sports and what have you, so everyone can identify with this guy. And he would always make the joke that what's this whiter than white Irish man with red hair doing on a black comedy show. So, but he hung around with Dave Chappelle on the Dave Chappelle show, and just was just inside America for 20, 30 years now. And I'm glad to see him do well, and people love the guy. So, and for good reason. So, comedy with race is fine. I have nothing against it, and I have a great comedian from Canada, just a stone's throw away from Toronto. His name is Russell Peters, and he started pretty much his own shtick in the '90s, making fun of all the cultures and races in Canada, because we have so many. Like India, he's Indian himself, so he made fun of Indians, the Chinese, Vietnamese. Like he just kept going with it, and it was great. So comedy is one of those wonderful things that knows no bounds, and it's always hit and miss with each crowd. So everywhere you go, when you are a comedian, you're going to bomb, not because, well, it could be because your stand-up is bad, or you muddle a line, or you forget your line, but because the crowd simply doesn't like it. And if you can imagine it not being liked back then, I'm sure we can all imagine the sensitivity of the crowds these days, that they would hate for you to talk about people being transgender or this or that race or this or that sex, or pick a reason they're going to be complaining about this comedian who said something in a comedy club somewhere. So happens a lot. Anyway, let's talk about this video. It came out last year in May and has about 320,000 views. Holy crap. Pretty strange. And it's got 18,000 upvotes and almost 2,000 downvotes. So very, very small ratio there, but some people obviously disagreed because they're normal human beings who understand that comedy is a beautiful thing. And none of these people who make these jokes are actual hateful people. They're comedians. They are there to make you laugh. So, and then we have Maggie Mae Fish, who sees everything through the lens of, well, just every lens you can get her hand on, which involves racism, sexism, feminism, Islamisms. She likes protecting the Islamists a lot.
Even though, like, technically, Islam hates gay people more than almost any other place on the planet, aside from perhaps the really hardcore evangelical Christians, and say, like, somewhere like Tempe, Arizona, where this guy says, no homos will ever be allowed in my church.
Well, that's another thing with Maggie Mae. She doesn't like the Christians, the Catholics, any Western philosophy / religion. That's all bad. It's strange. Like you would think the left leaning ideologues would be like freedom of speech is beautiful. You can believe in whatever you like, but unless you're Islamist, we hate you. You've been oppressing us all these years. Like, what are you talking about? It's a strange take on freedom of speech when that doesn't involve freedom of expression or freedom of worship. It's a very odd take from Maggie Mae, but yeah, whatever. That's why we watch her.
I'd love to see her react to one of our streams. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, she blocked me a long time ago, so who knows?
Because she's a wuss.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't remember. Mark was showing me that change in titles she was making whenever we published a Smud Talk. It happened almost instantly, which is hilarious. So anyway, let's go. Just rewind her a bit. All right.
This video is brought to you by my patrons. If you'd like to support, head over to patreon.com/Maggie Mae Fish. And by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
Oh no! She's brought back this bit.
I'm just kidding. This is a joke we like to play at the neighborhood.
What did she just freak out over? Was it the red lighting? I thought she was doing the Vulcan mind meld finger form, but apparently she just started screaming. I'm like, what what just happened? Okay, now she's acting like another East Ender or East Coast North American. I don't know. One of these wonderful cultural stereotypes there, Maggie. Thanks, Maggie. Really doing a good job there.
Although we had to stop after Mr. Peterson killed his wife and kids across the street. The joke lost its spark, if you will, because it became too real. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The delicate balance of the performance muses, comedy and tragedy, as we look at two works from two man comedians who exemplify this paradox. I'd like to give a warning that we will be discussing...
I don't think comedy and tragedy is a paradox. I think it's pretty well documented, and we have many examples as to why people are sad and happy, if not manic, and Shakespeare is a great example. We've been doing it since ancient Greece. Geez. Okay, fine. It's part of human nature, but that's fine. To her, it's a paradox. Good for her.
So kind of the element of comedy and tragedy are interlinked for the very simple reason that often we laugh at bad things happening to other people.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at why we laugh. There's lots of reasons why we laugh, for sure. Tragedy in the human condition is intrinsic to living. So to laugh at life is probably a healthy release of acceptance of what's happened to you. So, and look to Hamlet, look to Macbeth, look to all kinds of tragic stories out there. You can go through all of Shakespeare's comedies and understand why they are comedies. It's very simple. Lots of human interaction, lots of marriages at the end of these comedies, why you're entertained that way, why they were written that way. So, this is not a big mystery to me. I don't know why she considers it a paradox, but, that's fine. She's playing a character.
Because comedy and tragedy are contrasting opposites.
Yeah, it's not hard to grasp. I know there's lots of things to it. The Giga Chad. Hey, Giga Chad. Maggie is nailing the Jeffrey Dahmer look. Oh, God. Can't wait for whatever schizophrenic episode Maggie is going to treat us to today. Just remember, Maggie, they are in your walls. They are in your walls. All right. Let's continue.
Racial stereotypes and Rob Schneider, both deeply upsetting and almost synonymous topics. So, grab the nearest alt comic report.
So, Rob Schneider is a deeply upsetting topic? Okay.
Apparently, because he does a lot of racist impressions.
Yeah, but he does a lot of everything. Like he's a very visual comedian.
Everybody.
Yeah, not every
He does Like he did, what was it? Some kind of like Polynesian guy in in a 51st States. Which the only reason that movie is not a horror movie is because Rob Schneider decided to actively try to make it as like saccharine cute as possible.
Right. And I remember him from the 90s, I believe, when he was playing on Saturday Night Live. That was a lot of visual jokes as well, and so he throws himself at whatever he's given, which is what an actor does.
A lot, and does a lot of. Doesn't just do blackface; he does every face.
Yeah, I think that's, as a comedian, that's fine. That's the whole shtick. So I don't see a problem with that, but some people could. That's not every comedian lands the joke. That's totally fine.
In your, as we discuss two films in conversation.
When two comedians tell the same joke from polar opposite perspectives?
I guess when one is a racist perspective, the other is not a racist perspective.
So Tim Heidecker is the other side of this, I'm assuming? So she has Schneider and Tim Heidecker. All right.
I've never ever heard of Tim Heidecker.
Yeah, I don't know. This is interesting if she's going to show us an alternate example of the same joke that works for her, and then we can analyze why. That'd be great. Good job, Maggie. If you do that, I'd like to see that.
On my darkest days, the days when there's no light in the sky, the days when my soul can only muster a vacant... I watch Real Rob.
Real Rob is a Rob Schneider Productions show starring Rob Schneider about Rob Schneider's life and Rob Schneider's wife. But before we talk about where Rob is, let's take a look at where Rob's been. Rob Schneider got his break as a writer on SNL in 1988 and graduated to a cast member in 1990, which led to characters like Put Your Weed in Here.
You put your weed in there.
And Rich Meister, the copy machine guy.
Tom Meister making copies.
You get it. Which followed along the lines of the famous 90s SNL bit, which was to say the same line over and over until someone jumped out from the audience to murder the cast members just to make it stop. And it was really funny. After SNL, he had bit parts in the Adam Sandler verse, which led to leading roles in Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and The Animal. Staples of 2000's basement high school parties everywhere. If you ever wanted to immerse yourself in what boomers are mad at Gen Z for rejecting, look no further.
I am so lesbian right now.
But what really set Rob Schneider apart was his age-old dedication to the comedic art of crude racial stereotypes. Such as, but not limited to, Yellowface and I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, pretending to be...
Hey, wait a second. Why aren't you... Like, we can't see the picture, you retard. What are you doing? What's...
I think they're just like, it's too offensive to put in, even though it's like kind of just it's this whole words are violence idiocy that these people believe for whatever reason.
Okay, so when a comedian does it, she doesn't like it, but when other people do it, like let's say my prime minister, multiple times throughout history, they love the guy. Okay, it's good to know because
I don't even think it's Yellowface. He's just a Jewish stereotype, which is weird because Adam Sandler is Jewish.
Yeah, these are two Jewish guys. What the hell? Maggie, what are you doing?
Native American in bedtime stories, playing a Palestinian who plants a bomb to kill Adam Sandler's Israeli counter-terrorist in You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
See, that's funny. It's a dumb movie, but it's funny. Apparently she doesn't find it funny, but okay, fine.
Playing a Saudi businessman in Click where...
See, this sounds funny to me. But you can't make fun of anyone from Islam, so... Oh.
Even though Islam hate the gays, this is a proven fact. Honestly, Christianity is better for SJWs than Islam is, because we are fine with the gay people. We like the gay. We accept the gay people have intrinsic value as children of God. Islam does not.
I wonder if Rob played like a rabbi or a Catholic priest, would she censor him, like the face? Like,
He is not putting on some kind of face paint. Probably not.
yeah.
Where the character's name becomes a racist punchline, topped off with his short-lived CBS sitcom Rob, which was hailed as TV's worst new show, and genuinely offensive. Race-based humor is a long-standing tradition held near and dear to flailing comedians today.
Flailing comedians, really? Okay. Dave Chappelle, he makes all kinds of racial jokes. I was talking about Russell Peters, very well-known comedian who does, not specifically, but mostly racial jokes. And he digs into everyone. He digs into, obviously he's Indian, so he talks about his Indian culture, the Chinese, you name it, the Saudi Arabians. He goes all over the place. One guy I found out recently, ever heard of Andrew Schulz? I don't know if you ever heard of him. He is like, he's this white, he looks like he's a Bostonian or from New York kind of guy. He looks like a white Italian man, but his shtick is very similar to like how Jay Leno used to do his shtick. He would just talk to people in the audience, and he would just talk about like, you know, where's the best chicken to eat, right? So I get all the blacks, guys. All the blacks tell me where the best chicken to eat is. Then you just go by race, like ask the Indians where's the best chicken place. Like they just keep doing that. It was hilarious, and he's been doing this for, I don't know, at least 10 years, and he has some really good jokes, and some of them you might consider racist or sexist or homophobic, but they're awesome. They're so funny, and that's the point. If you can get gay men in your audience to laugh at the gay jokes, you're doing a good job. Like you're winning, and obviously not everywhere he goes he wins. Every comedian hits and loses all the time, and they bomb like crazy. But that's what you get into when you do stand-up. You are putting yourself out there, and you're saying exactly what you want to say in any way you want. And yes, you'll have some people walking out, but that's the beauty of comedy. You're a jester. You're free to just go crazy. And people sometimes love that freedom that a lot of us would be too scared to have or to say. So, yes, there are still comedians out there that do racial jokes, and they're fine. All right. Here's Elon Musk's forehead. Thank you. If Maggie sees something funny, she'll burst into hives. And yeah, I don't care what these lefty paint drinkers think of Rob Schneider doing an intensive racial stereotype, or insensitive rather. These people complained of RDJ doing blackface in Tropic Thunder. Oh yeah, that was a great example. That's a
full retard.
Yeah, that's a really good. Well, I don't know about the movie itself being funny. I didn't watch it, but the scenes I saw of him doing blackface were amazing. They were really good because he was playing a guy trying to be another guy playing another guy or something like that. There's like two levels of comedy there. I thought that was great, and it was a spoof on the not necessarily the Predator movie, but on the concept of this elite squad in Vietnam, trying to survive and what have you. Anyway, another donation from Giga Chad. Hey, please Maggie, I make harsher jokes than Rob Schneider on a Tuesday, like the one I made up about the Jew who wasn't allowed to go to the gas chamber in the Holocaust because he had a fart fetish.
Okay, that is awesome.
Yeah. Too bad we don't.
That is amazing.
Too bad we don't have our resident German to laugh along, but we don't know where is Whisp anyway. We have no clue. Whisp is around here somewhere. Anyway, Anyway, back to the video. I want to get this off of my screen. Why did she change her face? It's like her fourth depiction within 3 minutes.
Why did she look like a character from That's So Raven?
It feels like she's in the 70s show and something happened to her eyebrows. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Anyway.
This day. As displayed when Schneider himself defended Shane Gillis, who was fired from SNL for an extremely offensive joke at the expense of Asian Americans, apparently aspiring to be like his hero, Rob Schneider. And because art oft imitates life, Rob Schneider is also an anti-vaxxer. Showing up on episodes of...
Okay, considering the year is 2022, I don't see a problem with that, okay? If anything, we've learned... Yeah.
Bugger all.
If any...
Actually,
yeah.
It didn't do anything.
Yeah, we've learned...
I got it because I wanted money.
Yeah, if anything, we've learned vaccinations don't work, at least from 2020 on. So if you want to argue about the measles vaccination or other inoculations, go for it. That's fine. But 2020 on, no way. You have no argument.
The only reason why I got a vaccination was because I got paid $150 to do it by my work.
Wow. That's a nice... Well, I mean, I would give blood for that kind of money. Maybe not getting a vaccination. But yeah, that's awesome. That's the best story I've heard about getting a vaccination. They paid you for it.
Walmart just gave me $150 to get the vaccine.
For that money, they could have bought the vaccine for like, what was it, $50? I don't even know the shots, what they're costing, but
it was free.
Yeah, awesome.
So I got the vaccination for free. So I got $150 for 2 seconds of work.
Nice. All right.
It basically did nothing, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Pure Flicks Modern Family ripoff.
Oh, it's you.
Unfortunately for everybody, it is.
And once tried to lecture the late U.S. Representative John Lewis about Martin Luther King Jr., despite the fact that John Lewis was one of the Big Six who literally organized the March on Washington where Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech.
I told you.
So, what was the argument? I don't care if he was his brother. What's the argument you're making here, Maggie? Just because he knew the guy, therefore he would know better? All right. What did he know better? You see, this is a weird association argument. Oh, he stood right next to the man, therefore he knows more than you do. It's like, about what? Facts? History? Tell me. Anyway.
It's on my darkest days that I watch Real Rob.
Because if Rob Schneider has made a lifelong contribution to bad comedy, then Real Rob is his Sistine Chapel. If it was painted with shit. Real Rob is a clumsy mashup of what appears to be attempts to emulate Louis C.K., Larry David, and Modern Family, all at the same time, clawing at relevancy and interspersed with a few infomercials to push his real-life vitamin company.
Wow, you know more about vitamins and organic foods than the people that work here. I go on the websites all the time for health. I read all the books about it. I become an expert in it.
Here, let me summarize a few.
So, okay, he has a side job selling vitamins. Good for him.
Rob Schneider just generally isn't all that funny.
Yeah.
He's mostly just a staple of Adam Sandler because Adam Sandler is both a money launderer and he's creatively bankrupt because I don't know how else to explain Jack and Jill or the Hawaii movie.
I will say that Adam Sandler's a genius, but not a creative one, just a guy who could pump out whatever he wants in his weird movie-making franchise, which is alien. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he does. I don't watch his movies or particularly like him, but when he does real drama stories, he's great. He's a great actor. And he's also a good comedian when he's doing stand-up. I don't know him from his movies because I don't watch them. But he's a funny guy.
Like, the only reason why I think Jack and Jill exists is because he wanted to go on a cruise.
Yeah.
Paid for it.
I don't know what... Yeah.
It's all that he does.
I don't know what motivates Adam Sandler to make those films because he knows their shit. the people with him. It has to be a money, raising scheme, because making comedy movies is cheap compared to like, science fiction or whatever else. And he's only been in a few dramatic roles. I think it was Uncut Gems was his latest one.
Oh wow,
that was a while ago.
Jill's budget was $79 million.
Oh really?
Ouch. Not know where that money went. I seriously think it's just there to pay, maybe a bit to pay Al Pacino.
Oh really? Well, Uncut.
No, actually part of the plot. Al Pacino is part of the plot, as Al Pacino is.
Oh really? Well,
he wants to screw Adam Sandler in drag.
Okay. Well, Uncut Gems came out 2 years ago, almost more than 2 years. Fantastic film. Brilliant. Like, he can do it if he gets the right script and he's given dramatic control, or whatever you want to call it, creative control, to act. So he's a good comedian when he's doing stand-up. He's a good actor when he's given a good script. Everything else is pretty stupid, pretty bad stuff. But that's him. Good for him. Again, I don't care how these guys make their money, so long as someone is laughing and someone is buying their product, it's working for them. So good for them. Same with Maggie. Someone's watching these shitty films or these shitty videos of hers, and it's more than her subscriber count. So we don't know how it happens. We don't know who watches Maggie, but good for her. We're criticizing her just as she's criticizing these guys. So it's fair play. I don't see a problem here.
To the episodes. In this one, Rob Schneider gets a job promoting penis-enhancing tea. And he's mad about it. Suck it hard! In this one, Rob Schneider's wife gets a trainer. And he's mad about it.
We're gonna have to have that whole counter deballed.
In this one, Rob Schneider is worried because he doesn't have a thing like other comedians.
Every celebrity has their own thing, except for me.
And he's mad about it. In this one, Rob Schneider's daughter is accepted into a progressive preschool.
We're able to be the #1 off-the-grid sustainable negative carbon school in Southern California.
And he's mad about it. Are you sensing a theme? There's an episode where Rob...
Yeah, this is how these stories work, like with Seinfeld or with Larry David stuff. It's always the same thing. Yeah, introduce conflict, have a ridiculous reaction to it, and try and deal with the fallout. You watch a Seinfeld episode, you've seen them all, but they're always funny because every character reacts their own unique way. That's it. That's all. Comedy, in a very basic level, is taking a truth and either twisting it or looking at it from a different angle, just like you do in any other story, and exaggerating the reaction. And that's either funny to some people or stupid and goofy to others, depending on the truth and how you give it a different slant. There's other elements to comedy, of course. There's all different styles. There's slapstick. There's racial comedy, as Maggie's talking about. So it depends what flavor you like, which is more your style, what you identify with. And Maggie apparently likes this a lot. This is the good Rob stuff she likes. So cool. Why not?
Schneider gets away with running someone over with the car because he's rich and cops love him. And this guy is an actual cop. There's another episode where Schneider pretends to be a person with learning disabilities. And in case this isn't already clicking, Schneider used his own money to make the show, and that's the only reason it ended up on Netflix. It didn't cost Netflix anything to make it.
It's a cautionary tale, a nightmare for any comedy writer to watch, and plays like an ancient relic from another time when women were considered.
Wait. So he put his money where his mouth is doing this thing. He got picked up by Netflix and probably made his money back or broke even at least.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We have no clue. How is this a cautionary tale? He got himself on television in his own show doing the thing he loves doing, even if he knows he's not very good at it. And that's one of his jokes in the story. I'm not seeing a huge problem with this. Like, I don't care either way if it's good or bad, but he has that financial and amount of pull to do it. Again, good for him.
I look forward to hearing her what she thinks that Rob Schneider thinks of women.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Not funny.
I'm finding myself slipping into that well-tread path of depression now, pulling the weighted blanket over my heart as my third consecutive Chicago winter hits. The emptiness behind the show's humor is the emptiness between my brain's serotonin and serotonin receptors.
They have a matinee performance, and they're gonna let me perform as a mime.
And here we have Maggie performing as a mime. Here we go. No, we don't.
But just as a butterfly flaps its wings in Wisconsin, and on the other side of the world, a butterfly sleeps, while there's one Rob Schneider ideology, there is an equal but opposite approach. Timothy Richard Heidecker is a man who needs no introduction if you dated any super senior aspiring novelists who quit weed in order to write more in college. Or, you know, had your third...
What? What the hell kind of a reference was that, Maggie? Are you speaking from experience? Like, what is this? Aspiring?
Let's go with yes.
Dunn, do you know any aspiring novelists who quit weed in order to write more in college?
Stephen King did something similar.
Okay.
He did a lot of cocaine.
I do know Harlan Ellison quit college to write, and while he was writing, he was still in college, proving to his writing teacher, "Look, I got published, you jerk." And he just kept writing. I don't know if he did weed.
Petty. So basically pettiness.
Yeah, he was. Well, Harlan is very egotistical, so he would show off, like, "Look, I can do this. Your advice is horrible. I'm a writer." Because his teacher was telling me what he wasn't very good or whatever. So that's kind of amazing to me. A guy to prove to his creative art teacher of some vocation, "Look, I did it. It's been made. It may not be the best, but I proved you wrong." Which is a good thing for a teacher to get, because, oh, you did make it, even though I said you didn't or couldn't. That's a good. If I was a creative writing teacher, if I was teaching you or whomever how to write, and you don't take any of my advice and you still make it, I'm like, oh, I was wrong. Bravo! The end result is what I want. You did the thing that I didn't think you could do. That's amazing. So, bravo! I'm wrong. That's a good thing to be proven wrong by. Someone succeeding. But I don't know about her knowing about some novelist doing weed and being older and in college. It's a strange take.
Yep.
Here's Porcelainus IV. Maggie, Rob pretended to be someone with a learning disability. This offends me because I, Maggie Mae Fish, have an actual learning disability. God, she's just such a humorless cunt, isn't she? She did dress up as a mime, I believe. Once in one of her videos?
But she's not. But it's not a person with a disability, Smut. Therefore, it's fine.
Yeah, but
you're saying that mimes are disabled.
Not necessarily, but I'm just like, we know Maggie Mae, right? She is whatever Rob has failed at. He's more successful than her, obviously.
Yep.
So, and I see Maggie Mae is putting all these airs on and dressing up and acting. It's like, oh, you sound just like someone like Rob who wants to act and perform and be part of the arts. And he is, and he's living the dream, even though it's not the best dream or the most highest paying dream or the most successful dream.
Even the most creatively integral.
Right.
job.
He's not the funniest man alive, for sure. But he's doing it. He's pushing it. He's selling himself, which takes guts, which takes passion. That's to be commended. Again, we don't know anything about Rob in a while. I haven't seen a movie of his in decades. I mostly remember or remind myself from what was it? Encino Man was he in? I think he played one of the guys. Or was that someone else? I could be wrong. See, I don't even remember what film he was in. But he's still around. He's still making stuff. He's still pushing it. He's still doing the thing, the American dream, if you will. Well, Maggie's on YouTube, which again is not a bad thing. It's just a different level.
In order to write more in college. Or, had your third eye opened at a young age with Tom Goes to the Mayor.
Unfortunately, I was the former.
But the project that I'd like to focus on is An Evening with...
So she's speaking from personal experience of no longer doing weed and writing more in college. All right. Yeah. Okay. Good. See, that's what threw me for a loop. Like, where did that come from? That's oddly specific. Okay. Ugh.
Tim Heidecker. It's a stand-up special, but instead of him doing jokes as himself, Tim performs as an obnoxious, washed-up, right-wing version of himself, having somewhat of a complete mental breakdown on stage in front of a live audience.
Okay, here we go. This is it. She likes the parody of who's that current talk show host who used to do this exact same stunt on another talk show where he played a right-wing panelist or whatever you want to call, pundit, I guess you want to call him.
I don't know.
Was he on the Late Show now? Who is that guy? He got a job through Jon Stewart, and he was like a correspondent playing the ultra right-wing sort of dude, and then he did that as parody, and now he's just himself, just interviewing people and talking to people. Stephen Colbert. That was his shtick, the right-wing show he had. Was it The Daily Show, or I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, probably The Daily Show.
Yeah, so that was his shtick, and she likes this better because it's a parody of being a right-wing whatever, and she hates the right-wingers. That's it. That's all it is. This is more effective because it's parody, and you're parodying a right-wing guy, whereas Rob Schneider is just trying to make jokes, and they're partially racially involved or whatever, and she doesn't like it, and they're bad jokes or whatever. That's it.
Turn the fucking music off, Jack!
This version of Tim parodies the emptiness of voices of his own generation that don't know how to handle or don't want to handle their own flickering star.
My name is Tim Heidecker. I'm a comedian. When I tell people that, they say, what do you mean, like Tim Allen? I say, oh.
There's a deep anger in his character that comes out when he tries to exert control over the crowd.
I was at the movies the other day. I saw the new Batman, and what the fuck is funny about that? There's no reason to, you know what I mean? There's no reason to laugh at that. How's that gonna cut?
The flashes of misogyny and racism strewn about the show, always followed by a penetrating look into the insecurities that prop up those age-old comedy cliches.
Okay, wait. So this is acceptable because A, it's parody and she knows it's parody, and B, the parody is of a right-winger. That's okay, Maggie? So when a comedian doesn't do parody and they're just making jokes, that's bad. You can't make jokes about women. You can't make jokes about black or white or yellow or brown or purple unless it's parody. Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like. There's nothing wrong with the jokes Dave Chappelle makes or Russell Peters or Andrew Schulz. They're funny guys. People buy their tickets. They can't wait to go see them. This is weird.
Tim's show, a very vivid memory comes to mind of seeing my friend Bailey Norton perform stand-up at the Comedy Store in LA. And who skips to the front of the line to perform but Jamie Kennedy of ... fame. During his set, he started doing an accent as a joke. And let me be clear, he didn't say any jokes while doing the accent. The extent of the joke was him doing the accent. Luckily, no one laughed because it wasn't funny. So then he started ripping into us, the audience, for not laughing. He accused us of being politically correct because the term cancel culture hadn't been invented yet. He was mad because the audience wasn't immediately rewarding his complete lack of effort. And after...
So, wait, doing an accent is a complete lack of effort?
It is actually very hard to do an accent.
Yeah, what accent was it? What was he trying to make fun of? Who was he parodying? Maggie?
He was doing the Indian accent, like
Yeah.
I am doing right now.
Yeah, what's
I have no idea.
what's wrong with parodying someone who sounds like a stereotype? That's what we do all the time. It's fine. I don't get it. People don't laugh at stand-up comedians. It happens all the time. I don't. Okay, whatever, Maggie. It's fine.
7 minutes, he angrily left the stage.
My poor friend Bailey had to follow him, but she killed by opening with, "Is that the circle, circle, dot, dot guy?" But that invisible switch from arrogant joke-telling to immediate anger when not met with instant praise is wired into this generation of older comedians.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Have you talked to comedians that are past 40 or 50? They bomb all the time. They're used to it. Now, some of them might not be, and some of them might just have a bad day. But maybe that's their shtick. Maybe that's what they're used to. That's how they perform. And it's not going to land all the time. It's not some universal comedic truth. There's so many nuances to comedy. Every crowd is different. Every location you go to is different. It's not always going to work. This is weird.
Yep.
She's saying some 50-year-old comedians are entitled? Are you what? Comedians. I just comedians, professional comedians go everywhere. They try to get as many gigs as possible, and they try to get the right jokes, and they're constantly testing new material. Yes, they will have ones that work, and they will have like a 80% of their set will be all the things that work. And then the last bit will try stuff they haven't done because they're always working on new material. They have to. They can't just keep doing the same stuff or else they'll be out of a job. So I don't know. Maybe that was his first set for that test. He did the whole thing. Like there's so many nuances to this that we're not getting. Man, you should, if you go to comedy clubs and you know a friend who does comedy, you should know this, Maggie. Holy.
Who seem to break,
She doesn't.
not bend at the changing times.
And Tim Heidecker's stand-up character really captures that rage. The simultaneous complete entitlement and complete denial. The refusal to adapt to an ever-evolving world. The attitude that if an audience doesn't laugh at your jokes, they must be lectured sternly about why it's okay that your jokes are so out of date they went out of style with designer trucker hats, Ed Hardy shirts, and the Jamie Kennedy experiment.
I tell a joke, you? Thank you very much.
Tim has constructed a show that comments on the insecurities of other comedians, while a show like Real Rob is a product of those insecurities.
In studying Rob
So?
Schneider and Tim Heidecker, we've stumbled upon a paradox, one that I call the Schneidecker paradox.
Although these comedians sit at opposite ends of the political spectrum in real life, the Rob...
How do you know that?
Yeah, how do you know that Rob Schneider is a right-leaning? Like, just because, like, a lot of right-leaning people like him because he says a lot of really insensitive things.
Yeah, but even then, what does this have anything to do with their comedy or what makes them funny? Like this, like who cares what Dave Chappelle's politics are? Or Russell Peters? Does he make people laugh? Yes. Do they both? Yeah. Dave Chappelle's one of the most famous comedians in the world right now. Does it matter?
Chappelle says a lot of offensive things.
Yeah, that's what you do. Like he is so good at telling a joke, and I remember what was it? Seinfeld was saying he dodged like 7 laser beams with his joke, and it was like this totally racist joke, and he just was able to pull it off.
Or stuff like I think somewhere where, oh yeah, he man, he made Will Smith smack him. That's one funny thing that he was able to do.
Well, that is I think every comedian saw that when okay, we got to comment on that.
They were like, oh my gosh, can we get more blood sports, please?
Yeah, if we get more people slapping comedians, that'd be great. People losing their minds.
Or just have the Oscars be a full like kills set. That would be great.
Yeah. So, the politics of a comedian are largely irrelevant. I don't know why, but fine, Maggie. Let's do this stupid spectrum thing.
Of Real Rob and the Tim of An Evening with Tim Heidecker form a kind of comedy horseshoe theory, playing versions of the same character, but presented with opposite intent. One is a commentary on a type of person. The other is simply that person. One is a clever deconstruction of reactionary politics.
Reactionary. Okay, Maggie, what is a reactionary politic or politics? Go ahead, tell us.
I guess it's the idea of you react to a specific kind of policy, legislation, whatever thing you don't like. No.
I'm trying to remember the term because I know that Whisp told me that, but a reactionary to the socialists is very specific. It's like an enemy of the state or the enemy of the belief. So it's like a strong traditionalist conservative value person who is against all this political and social change or economic changes or whatever. And I didn't know that because I don't study politics. I don't care. So when you start being called that, you're like, okay, that's nice, but I don't care what politics you are. I just think you're nuts. And that's why I'm replying to you or critiquing your video. So when myself or you or anyone on the Smudcast gets called that, there's a whole political world behind that term that none of us are aware of. And this is weird because she's applying horseshoe theory. And if you don't know what horseshoe theory is, that's when you have two extremes, left and right, that end up in the same place, which doesn't make sense because she's saying these two comedians are completely different, but they end up in the same place. But we know she doesn't like Rob's jokes, but she prefers Tim's. So it doesn't make sense, Maggie.
It's the idea. Well, it seems as though woke people love meta stuff. They love meta humor. Because they think that's clever. They like feeling clever by extension.
Well, yes, that's part of being a comedian. Is the comedian who makes a joke is always a guy who comes across as a man of the people or who is on the bottom rung of society. And it's never a guy or a girl who's like, I don't know, the rich. Like there's no such thing as a rich joke. A joke that you're like, oh, I have to go buy my second Lamborghini because my first one broke down. Like you can't make a joke like that. Maybe it's possible, but I've never heard a comedian do that. It's always bringing the level of intelligence and the level of society down to the common man and connecting on that level. That's why a guy like Norm Macdonald, his comedy is always about coming across as not dumber than the audience, but just a guy that you can go, okay, he's coming across as someone dumber than me, but he's saying things which I didn't think of, which are actually entertaining, because I never thought of them that way before. And it's kind of charming in a certain way, because they're there to make you laugh. And it doesn't matter in what capacity or what the joke is. If you can connect with the audience in that simple manner, then you can work. I think, was it Jamie Foxx who tried to do that? And it was, I can't remember where this was, but he was doing a bunch of jokes because he was successful and making money, and he was doing jokes about his gated community, and they weren't landing. No one cared. But Chris Rock, who went on, or was it Chris Tucker? It was Chris Rock or Chris Tucker, who went on after him, did very well, and he was telling jokes from the heart that didn't involve money or riches or fame. And that's the great thing about these comedians. These guys are multimillionaires, but they tell jokes like anyone can relate to them. That's the beauty of comedy. The jester is always seen as the guy who's next to the king, but he's on the lower tier. He's like everyone else. He just happens to be a goofball. Anyway, here is the Porcellinus IV. Thanks again. Maggie dislikes Rob and likes the other unfunny jackoff whose name I forgot because Rob makes fun of people Maggie likes and the other guy, the people she doesn't. Yeah, maybe. She believes in that pseudo-intellectual Marxist comedy concept called punching up.
Which?
Maybe. There's lots of nuance to this for Maggie, because we're talking about Maggie Mae Fish. My God, she has like a dozen dumb ideas that are all interconnected, and they're all related to politics. And we just sit there like, I don't know what she's talking. Like horseshoe theory, really? If you don't know horseshoe theory, it relates to the fascism or totalitarianism being the same thing, no matter if you come at it from the left or the right.
Mm-hmm.
So to combine that with the idea of comedy, I don't know what she's getting at, because she doesn't like Rob's jokes, but she likes Tim's jokes. So in the end, she only laughs at Tim's jokes, but not Rob's jokes. I don't know how that's horseshoe theory. That makes no sense.
I do not know either.
Yeah. Anyway.
My wife comes home with these no-salt chips. Fuck you. No more bullshit.
The other is a reactionary.
That Sharia law? That's tough. If a woman has sex before marriage, they could stone her to death. Man, I can imagine maybe 1 stone. You know. Like a little one. Whore. Huh?
Each one may make basically the same joke.
It's not inaccurate.
It's not too bad. It's not hilarious, but it's not. Yeah.
Rob Schneider's very funny. He has a very, very particular shtick.
Yeah.
And mostly it's kind of lazy. I kind of like him as Ula, but that's only because Drew Barrymore beats him half to death with a baseball bat. The main reason why I think that's funny.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's great. It's not bad. He's still got it. Whatever it is he's got. You know, comedians try hard, that's for sure.
Opposite perspectives, making completely opposite arguments. Both the Tim Heidecker stand-up character and the version of Rob Schneider that we see on Real Rob are in a sense very real. Tim is playing a character based on very real people, and Rob seems to be pretty much speaking from his own real beliefs on his show.
How do you know that?
Yeah, that's doesn't sound accurate.
Yeah, when you watch the Larry David stuff, it's all scripted. It's all prepared beforehand. It's not off the cuff. It's well produced. It's good camera work. Everything's prepared. And it's a team. It's not just Larry David. It's everyone else. I remember they did the Seinfeld reunion on Larry David, or the Seinfeld whatever. That was all prepared beforehand. It was like Seinfeld playing a version of himself, and like Jason Alexander playing a version of himself, etc., etc. So, I'm sorry to say this, Maggie, but this is all scripted.
Yep.
But at the same time, they're both very fake. Tim is being fake because he's playing a heightened character that doesn't reflect his personal beliefs. And Rob is being fake because he seems absolutely incapable of self-reflection or sincerity.
No, you idiot. He's an actor. He's acting as himself. Oh my God. How could you be so dumb? This is so...
Very great, with little difficulty.
He is obviously playing a version of himself in the same capacity that Seinfeld reunion was playing versions of himself in the Larry David show. He is not literally just winging it and saying exactly what he thinks. That's not how these shows... It's not how any show where a comedian gets their own show works. Yes, it's their own comedy routine. That doesn't mean that's what they think or what they are. You might get a little bit of that from Bill Burr, where he says, this is what I'm a crazy person. I'm very violent. I have all these violent thoughts. And I honestly think he does. He does actually have violent thoughts, but he's not actually doing that. And he tells us that as well. And he blows it up to make it sound funny, which is the beauty of Bill Burr, because he's telling us what everyone else is thinking. He just has the courage to go up there and say it, which is awesome. There's that one. He's gone to lots of comedy gigs where he's bombed and people booed him on stage. There's a very well-known one where he's just swearing at everyone for like 12 minutes? And he's counting down the clock where he has to leave, and he's he just dropped his whole set and just started swearing at everyone. It was fantastic. I think, was it actually Chicago? I can't remember where it was. Or Philadelphia.
I've seen that.
It's amazing. Here's Porcelainus the Fourth. Plot twist, the other guy is speaking from his true beliefs. And his left-wing political beliefs are just a public front. The crow goes down bitter, Maggie, but you have to eat it to mature. This is such a reach for Maggie. Clearly, he's just incapable of self-reflection. It's like, Maggie, where is this coming from?
Desperate to construct the facade of being funny. One of the best ways to see the Schneidecker paradox in action is to look at the aesthetic choices each comedian makes in their piece. So let's start with something terrible. One of the first things you'll notice when you watch Real Rob is the offensively saturated color palette. It's so extreme, there are scenes where everyone's skin looks orange.
So wait, okay. She's gauging the comedy of Rob by the choice of color in the show.
I don't care.
I've have you ever seen a comedian in a nightclub and you judge him based on how brightly lit the spotlight is on him?
Yeah. That's a terrible idea.
That is retarded. That is so dumb.
This is the worst Maggie we've seen. It's pretty bad though.
This is a dumb argument. This is so silly. Look how bright the colors are. Therefore, Rob is not a good comedian or something. What? No. Oh God.
Assaulting the very cones in your retinas. A high saturated look is common in comedies, especially sitcoms. It's a short.
What? So you show a 2-second clip of The Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory is mostly considered bad.
Yeah, but
he likes it.
But that has nothing to do with comedy.
Comedy.
Oh my God, she is out on a limb.
Beforehand to communicate how fun and upbeat a show is. But Real Rob turns this up to an 11, screaming insecurities like, please remember this is supposed to be a comedy. I know you haven't laughed in a few episodes, but doesn't this orange color make you want to giggle? The color grade.
What? I don't. What is she? How does a orange wall paint make you want to giggle? What are you talking about? It's a cool, calm color. What is? You might argue the lighting in general is very soft, so everything comes across as bright. But that you do that technique in filmmaking or whatever, cinematography to have softer, more robust colors. So like it makes people look younger. It evens out edges. There's lots of reasons to do it. I'm not an expert on light choreography, or rather light dynamics, but there's lots of reasons.
It's called lighting.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons you have certain lighting for certain shots. And the color palette is more specific to the props and the wardrobe and maybe cosmetics, but not like it's such a strange thing to say, Maggie. Like, what are you on about?
Rating is so extreme and bad, even Rob's eyes are completely different colors from episode to episode.
No, they're not. What are you talking about?
Color grading is so extreme and bad, even Rob.
They might be a bit, some hues a bit above and below because of the lighting, but other than that, no, they're the same color. He's not wearing contacts. They're blue. Why are you zooming in on someone's eyeballs, Maggie? What the hell is wrong with you?
What does it matter?
This is the dumbest nitpick I've ever heard from her. The color is too bright. On comedy, whether or not Rob is funny, how bright is the frickin' scene lit?
Comedy does not use theatrical lighting.
I could listen to Bill Burr without looking at the screen and still laugh. Or any comedian for that matter. I could be blind and still laugh at the jokes. Unless it's a visual joke, of course. But like, come on, Maggie. This is really dumb.
Rob's eyes are completely different colors from episode to episode. The comedy is nowhere near as vibrant as these colors. It's like you're seeing and hearing two completely different shows.
Okay, wait. I just thought of a show which is brightly lit like this. Arrested Development. Arrested Development is basically a parody of a dysfunctional family trying to make ends meet and all the other crazy stuff that every character is bizarre. So everyone's having their own issues and conflicts, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And it has camera work and lighting and quality photography like this. So does that make Arrested Development funnier? I don't think so. I don't think the cinematography or lighting has anything to do with it. Like it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the same idea. I don't think the lighting and the sets and the color of the props have anything to do with it.
Fish killer.
What do we do?
I guess we go back in time and feed the fish. Wait, we can't go back in time. That would require a time machine.
Not to explain comedy to you, but the joke
That's
here,
not
in case you
funny.
missed it, is that time machines don't exist. A better artist
It's
would
not
be
a
able
good
to
joke.
utilize the juxtaposition of oversaturated.
A better artist would be... Okay, listen to this sentence and telling me what's wrong with it. A better artist would be able to utilize this juxtaposition of oversaturated colors with... Let's continue.
Colors with understated dialogue.
Understated dialogue, but Rob doesn't seem aware that this juxtaposition exists. All right, I'm going to start. Why do we need to have a juxtaposition of colors and dialogue? What does that even mean? How do you even do it? The word utilize, I just don't like it. I just use the word use. It's very specific. You don't need this complex word to mean the same thing. And the very notion that we're trying to use cinematography and lighting with comedy, which is non-visual, it's just delivery of lines, has no relationship. And this is her belief. We've spent 2 minutes on this already. We're already lost. What is she talking about?
I have no idea.
Okay, Porcelainus the Fourth, thanks for the break. Does Maggie think Rob is the director of photography on the show? Yeah, I don't think she realizes there's actually a writer's room and all these other people behind the scenes. Also, Maggie is accusing Rob of being insecure because of the color palette. Yeah, I know. Bitch! She's standing in a set that's lit like a shitty Wes Anderson ripoff. Yeah, well, don't tell her that. She actually likes Wes Anderson. So, I don't know. This is. We've covered her political nonsense, and this is partially in this video. We've covered her weird fetishes. This is trying to explain her offense to the color palette of a comedy show she's not laughing at, and explaining that the color palette has to do with the comedy. Here's an idea. Close your eyes, Maggie. Listen to the jokes.
Most of them are bad from what I can see, but that's just because they're lame, not because they're racist.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other element that she just brought up, and I'm sure she'll bring it back, but I can't get over this. I just cannot believe she thinks comedy is tied to lighting and how the light hits objects with certain colors. It's what?
Comedy lighting sucks.
Like when I was watching Richard Pryor a week ago on YouTube, the camera work and the lighting on those stages were horrible because it was the 80s or the 70s or whatever. Like he's still hilarious. It's so stupid.
Yep. It is stupid.
All right.
She doesn't know that.
Yeah.
But Rob doesn't seem aware that this juxtaposition exists.
I don't think anyone is aware of this juxtaposition because you just invented it.
Mm-hmm.
When
One of the other notable creative choices is the music. And I can't play it here because I don't want a copyright strike, but it's kind of like this.
Oh my god. Can we
Nasty.
Can we just skip ahead? That is unnecessary.
It's like,
Okay, good. Holy, she thinks the music interferes with the comedy. It could, with the dialogue for sure, yeah. But no, Maggie, you're wrong. Oh my, oh god. Maggie makes weird noises, and even the subtitle is like, what the hell is going on? All right, hopefully. No. There we go.
I'm sure Rob Schneider could do a tight 5 on the subject of why waterboarding is not torture, actually. And then there's...
he would not do that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous,
Which is
you idiot.
ridiculously hammy.
They say there's no such thing as bad publicity, right?
Whoever said that never had their erection questioned on a major thoroughfare.
And corny.
I'm good at surrounding myself with people who pretend to like me. Is there a business in that?
Yeah, show business.
And any other negative...
That was a good joke. I liked it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
food-related adjectives that you can imagine.
And I should know, I grew up on corn. And if you know how to wield it, it can be a very freeing character choice.
But
that's funny.
this is not that. It's consistently excruciating the day players feel more in-world than any of the actual characters, and the only funny scene in this entire 2 seasons of this series is when Norm Macdonald acts so bizarre in his cameo, you get the feeling that he actually does hate Rob Schneider in real life.
It's Rob
Probably hate
Schneider.
Rob Schneider in real life because Rob Schneider's an annoying person.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't remember. I think Rob Schneider was on Norm's show a few times. And Norm's one of those guys where you're not exactly sure what his opinion is in the first place. He kind of changes his mind a lot, but that's the kind of guy Norm is. And you put Norm in anything, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, awesome. I didn't even know Norm was on that show. So, cool.
Even when the show plays with tone, it goes from bad to worse.
The tone of what? The lighting? Like, I don't know what she means. I honestly don't. The tone of the story, the tone of the characters, the lighting tone, the sound tone, like what?
The stand-up bits, which are randomly sprinkled sporadically throughout the series, offer a depressing peek into Rob's process.
You know what you never see? Homeless Asian people.
Oh wait, sorry, I don't want to show that clip. He does a racist accent.
You know who got divorced? Stephen Hawking.
Oh, okay, that one's ableist.
What? You can't make a joke about Stephen Hawking because he got divorced and he's in a wheelchair. Are you kidding me?
Evidently not.
Is she just going to go down the list of ists and phobes? Because he dares to make a joke about Stephen Hawking, who died like 10 years ago? Like, what the hell?
Gay guys won't hit on me.
Homophobic and transphobic. Okay, this...
What? How is it both homophobic and trans? What are you talking about? What? He's doing self-deprecating humor, and suddenly he's a homophobe and a transphobe. Are you retarded, Maggie?
Yes. The answer is yes.
I just she just hates the guy. This is all it comes down to. She just hates Rob because he doesn't have the same politics as I do, and he doesn't make me laugh. Therefore, he's a bad person. Give me a break.
One I can play. It's just about how much he hates his wife.
Honey, the only person who wants to kill you is already in the house.
My point in mentioning all these aspects of Real Rob's cinematic language is to demonstrate that every moment of this show, every detail, every syllable, every pixel, is designed not to be funny, but to convince you that Rob Schneider is funny. It's the...
Maybe that's the whole shtick. Maybe that's the show. If you're picking up on it so well, Maggie, He's a struggling guy trying to get a job in wherever, Hollywood, I guess. And all of his jokes don't really land very well. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen the show, but maybe that's the whole thing. And that's kind of the, it's like enjoying a B movie. Like a B movie is obviously not as entertaining as a full-blown production, but there's elements of it which are good, and there's elements of it that are bad. And sometimes they're so bad they're good, and sometimes the good elements are kind of boring. It's kind of got that vibe to it. That's what I mean. It's sort of mediocre. Like it's not like we're comparing like a gem like The Room where everything is so bad it's funny. Like everything's hilarious. Like it's sort of that vibe. This is the kind of feeling I'm getting actually when I'm trying to explain something like Star Trek Picard. I'm analyzing that, so that's what's in my brain right now. And there are some good scenes. There are generally good dramatic scenes of people revealing their feelings and why they feel that way, but they're in a scenario which makes no goddamn sense. Like a man just died in front of you, and you're retelling the history of your childhood and how traumatic it was, and you're just like, are you going to call the police? Are you going to check this man's life signs? You see why he died, who he is, what happened? Nope. Going to cry about me being a 9-year-old or a 6-year-old being captured by the Borg. It's like, okay, sure. So there's like these great scenes, and there's these absolutely horrific settings and setups in Picard. And thankfully, I took a break today with the Smudcast because I needed a break, and I think Dunn, you needed a break from writing. Yeah, no, my brain was just like, going through, analyzing that episode 9 of season 2 of Picard is just painful. I think I'm barely half done with my video, but oh my god, that's where I kind of feel. It's this mixed bag of a lot of crap, and there's like these two scenes like, oh, that's actually good. You get that sometimes. It's like a broken clock. These talentless hack writers, they churn the cauldron, and sometimes they pull out a little piece of gold when the rest is all crap. So it does happen. But that's what I get from this show. Without watching it, I'm assuming that's what it's like. It's a mediocre comedian.
Aesthetics of comedy.
The aesthetics of comedy. What? Okay. You could. Okay. Let me try to think about this for a second. The beautiful, when it comes to making someone laugh, does that make any sense? I don't think so.
No, it does not.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't analyze comedy. I just know the basics. Like I don't think comedians actually analyze comedy. I think they just look for it, like they're looking for like they're panning for gold, right? They're just sort of digging their pan in the river, and they're shuffling the ground up and to see what they get. Like that's pretty much what comedians do. They don't analyze stuff. That's not what comedy really works on. It could be intellectual. There could be puns and well thought out ideas, but that's very, very clear jokes. Like Norm Macdonald does that the moth joke, which is a 10-minute joke for this one pun. This one pun right at the end. It's just hilarious how he goes through all these motions just to get there. So there's lots of nuance to comedy, but I wouldn't analyze it. I don't think that's very efficient or helpful to understanding comedy.
You can tell certain things about comedy, but you can kind of see, okay, maybe this joke doesn't seem to work, or this joke kind of works.
Oh yeah, you could.
Mostly it's just.
You could
miss. You could trial and error that.
Exactly. Yeah, you could analyze why a joke doesn't work for sure. But when a joke does work, it's like, wow, how'd that happen? And it
a mini miracle, really.
Yeah, it's like, who knew that would connect with your brain at that certain way, with that delivery, and that's why I always like Norm. I don't know if you watched what was that stand-up comedian show where it's kind of like people would go on stage to sing, and they'd all rate them and how good they are. This was the same deal, but with comedians, and Norm Macdonald was one of the judges. And some of the judges were like really like, oh, that was good, that was funny. And Norm was like, nope, that was garbage. You're not funny. That joke didn't land. And the person on stage is like, okay, I guess I'll try again. He's like, no, you're never gonna. He's like, no, you're never going to be funny. You're in the wrong field. He was so strong and adamant about that because he knew, to him at least, his version of comedy, what worked. And Norm was amazing. If you have never watched any of Norm's stuff, his stand up, even his show, it's amazing. Like the guy's amazing.
That's cool.
Anyway, there are. I'm quite sure, in my understanding of aesthetics, there's no such thing as the aesthetics of comedy.
Some commonalities like cheap lighting, mostly non-dramatic stuff, but mostly it's trying to be funny.
It's trying to be funny with a truth that someone knows and put it in an exaggerated or a different way that you didn't think of, and it happens very quickly. There's no visual cue. There's no audio cue. It's just delivery of the truth at a different angle. And every comedian has their own slant based off, it could be stereotypes, things you connect with on a general level, on a universal level, human level. That's it. You could look like anything. You could sound like anything. People can be funny in any capacity. It's amazing. So I would not start applying aesthetics I wouldn't even apply aesthetics to drama. You could, like, the mood music, the scene is slowly moving, the person's slowly, walking across the room, the oboe is playing, the lady, slowly takes down her negligee, maybe, but then that's something else. That's cinematography, that's visuals. That's not dramatic dialogue. What a weird take our brains are going in all these directions. Like, what is she talking about?
Cool things, my friend, and none of them make sense.
Yeah.
Trappings of humor. The show is designed to overwhelm the senses with visual and auditory nonsense, as if to distract you, so you're too busy to notice the gaping holes where the actual jokes should be. All of these aesthetic choices are just packaging, like the colorful wrapping and synthetic dyes that help you forget that the fast food you're eating is just a pile of processed garbage. It's comedy as product, meant to be consumed, then immediately excreted without
comedy
a second thought.
isn't
Ultimately,
anything
all
else.
of this audio-visual
Is anything else
trickery, the cheery color palette, and fun music of Real Rob are an attempt to conceal the existential horror at the core of the show.
The existential horror, I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. I've never watched the show, but that sounds strange. Is Rob scared of himself? Is he scared of not being funny? He doesn't seem scared. He seems to be putting himself on the line by making a show. I mean, that could be the joke. That could be the punchline. He is the punchline. His life in this pastiche that is not real Rob, even though it is called Real Rob. Isn't that part of the joke there, Maggie? I mean, what's wrong with that? This is like any other show, which some people like and some people don't like, which is a comedy daytime streaming show or whatever. That's all.
The horror of being Rob Schneider. Traveling to the other side of the horseshoe. Tim Heidecker's stand-up special is fairly simple and straightforward. The unassuming stage design allows you to focus squarely on the character. There's color, but it's not...
This is her argument? Because Tim Heidecker is doing a special and the camera is pointing at the stage?
The difference between a comedian who's doing a stand-up versus a comedian who is doing a sitcom. Those are two very different things, Maggie. I know that you're too stupid to understand this, but you probably should have thought about this before you did this video.
And she's analyzing the backlight because it's fuchsia or whatever. And it's not eye melting. It's like, Maggie, that could be a brick wall. What are you talking about? In fact, most stand-ups are a brick wall. They're in a small little corner of the restaurant or club they're in. What a dumb analysis, Maggie. Like, holy jeez. Do you have anything else to do with your time? As you can see, the backlighting is fuchsia, and it's not as painful as watching Rob Schneider when he's making cupcakes. Okay.
Really, Rob Schneider can be painful to watch. Not for the reasons why you think he's painful to watch.
Yeah, this is like, as you can look at the color palette, is very reminiscent of the French flag, and the French are known for their colorful palette. It's like, no, Maggie.
Maggie, no, you're an idiot. Shut up.
Unless she starts going into color theory, which I know she doesn't have the intelligence or background of. Wow, this is silly.
Eye melting or distracting. The intro music is hard rock.
It's a
Tim wears
stand-up.
a leather jacket with slicked back hair. The typical
You.
white dude going through a midlife crisis vibe.
What? This is okay. I didn't know white dudes
What's wrong with you?
wearing leather jackets and slicking their hair back means they're going through a midlife crisis. That just means they have a certain hairstyle and they like leather jackets. That's about it. Unless you want to talk about Andrew Dice Clay, then go crazy. But he's not doing that. He's just dressing up the way he wants to. And I really think his outfit is irrelevant. He could be wearing a sports jersey. It would make no difference.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, maybe a suit would change things up, the appearance, maybe. But other than that, no, I don't think clothing has anything to do with it.
Overall, the production design and the look of the show.
The production design of a stand-up routine. Are you kidding me?
One of these things does not exist.
What?
One of these things.
Why doesn't she talk about set design and cosmetic design and all this other bullshit that doesn't exist as well? It's like music design, sound design. It's like, Maggie, it's a guy with a microphone doing stand-up. It's not a freaking movie. Like, holy shit.
Sitcom.
Oh my god.
Massively different things. I don't know what is wrong with you.
I wish I could leave comments on our video again, because this is amazing. This is so stupid.
Doesn't obscure the content of the jokes. There's no visual sleight of hand going on, no attempt to trick you into feeling a particular way. Tim's character's...
So she's admitting that colors, she's like a cat. She's looking at the show and going, wow, I'm so distracted by the color palette, I can't focus on the jokes. But stand-up routine, I'm fine. Even though I've seen all kinds of stand-up routines with all kinds of crazy sets in the background all over the years. Like, it's just been like ridiculous sets, from just having like all this like junk in the background to like flashy mirrors on the back, or giant jumbo screens with either the person's name or the person's face. It just, like, Maggie, are you really going to make the argument that because the background of the stage he's on is plain, therefore his jokes are better? You could make the argument that because it's so plain, his jokes are plain as well. And the juxtaposition between two colors shows how crude and boring and simple these jokes are, because they don't stimulate my brain enough, like a set that was prepared by, I don't know, a set designer. What a weird, like, she could say anything and justify her nonsense and be like, okay, what? Oh, he didn't have a colored mohawk. I'm not distracted, therefore they're good. Like, what? No.
Struggles to say catchy phrases, often stammering mid-sentence or saying the wrong word. Character tics that Tim employs to show us how earnestly the character is trying to hide his own incompetence.
Do you know where the name of the band U2 came from? The name of the band of the
Near the beginning of the show, Heidecker
he
assures
flubs,
the audience
so
that
what?
he's
I don't
gonna
care.
be off the cuff. He's putting his joke notes away, and he's gonna be real.
I am going to try something I'm calling in my head, comedy without a net.
But after a brief, pathetic attempt at word association and improvisation,
Well, hold on. I have an idea. What we could do this.
he gives up and resorts to his hacky pre-written material.
Finally got a chance to hear the music of Keith Urban. I thought to myself, gee, this guy might want to change his name to Keith Rural. If you know what I mean.
Underneath the character's bravado is terror.
How do you know this, Maggie?
You know that that's not part of the act.
This is all one act. As you said, it's a parody. So how do you know his bravado is terror? Like what if his bravado is just bravado? I want to know. Like how does she know this?
Just tell me. I would like to know.
It's like behind all this passion is fear. Behind all this happiness is sadness. It's like what? What are you talking about?
You are stupid, Maggie. When you accept that you are stupid, I'm free.
Like you're doing a parody. Behind all this parody is all this fake bravado is fake terror. It's like what? What do you realize he's playing a part, right? Like she admits to that. So is it fake terror? Like what do you? This is so stupid. Like Maggie, come on, you're not this dumb. He's an actor. Not hard.
Palpable audience. The terror of the world moving beyond your comprehension.
No, it's a guy doing a stand-up routine and acting the part. You could interpret that any way you like, but you're see, this is what I don't like about people doing this quasi-psychology bullshit. They're trying to imply causes to effects. Yes, we see him acting scared or stammering or having to go back and check his notes because he doesn't remember them, because he's trying to be more authentic or he's trying to prove to the audience he knows his lines or he knows the jokes, but he doesn't. You're like, yes.
Causation does not indicate causality.
Well, it's like with anything. You can't prove causes. This is even in science. You have a good idea. That's why you have hypotheses, and you test and you test. And then you look at the body of work that thousands of experiments from other scientists have performed, and you go, okay, yeah, this looks like this is the direction the universe is going with this hypothesis, but we still don't know if that's true. We don't have the cause. We never know what the cause is. We only have, as they say, the Schrodinger's cat paradox, if you want to call that. We only see the effects. We can use light to determine the position of particles in the subatomic area, but as soon as we determine the location of particles, that the particles have moved because we just hit them with another particle. So we don't know the causes of things. We know the effects. We know what we've done and what we see, but not how we got there. It's only best guesses. And when we know this is an act, the actor is performing, all causes are irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
It's all fake.
It's all fake, exactly. He could be thinking of his wife. He could be thinking of his dog, or what to eat tomorrow. Like it doesn't matter. Did he perform well? Yes, good. Okay.
I haven't seen my wife in like a week or two while I've been on tour, and my hand is getting tired.
Yeah, because I've done this act 200 times the past year.
I was thinking about using the hand for a very different purpose, but that works too.
Yeah. Oh boy, Maggie, why are you reading into this so much? Anyway.
Terror will quickly turn into anger because it certainly can't turn into shame.
The fuck is the matter with you?
You know what they say. Men are most afraid that people won't laugh, and women are most afraid of men killing them.
Honey, the only person who wants to kill you is... I
don't know what to say to that. I don't think I've ever met a woman who was scared of me or other men killing them. I know it's a joke in like dating circles where I hope you're not an axe murderer, you know, that constant thing. I hope you're not a horrible creature or monster, which is fine, but that's not like a practical consideration. Everyone's weird in a certain way, and that gets revealed by dating someone, so I don't see what the issue is there. Yeah, that's... men are scared of people not laughing at their jokes, really. I don't think so. I've made some bad jokes talking to people a lot. They haven't laughed. I wasn't scared of telling them. They were funny to me. I didn't care. Oh, boy. Where did she get that insight? I don't know.
Already in the house.
Ultimately, the simple aesthetics of An Evening with Tim Heidecker are used to reveal the existential horror at the core of the show. The horror that is Tim.
No, Maggie, the lighting guy, he put the magenta filter in the lighting, and then he put the blue filter on the other two light spots. That's it. That's the aesthetics of the show. Okay.
There's nothing deep about this.
There's literally...
Stop overthinking this.
There's no symbolism. There's no association. There's no juxtaposition. There's no color theory. There's no additive or subtractive model. It's just blue and magenta. That's it. That's all it is. Primary and a secondary color. That's it. Okay.
And once again, we arrive at the Schneidecker paradox. Two completely different projects made with completely different motivations for completely different audiences, somehow revealing...
The motivation is they want to perform and they want a job, and that's their act. It's the same thing.
The same truth about the hollowness and...
Oh, there we go. Oh, I was waiting for it.
Louder with Crowder? Crowder?
Louder with Crowder. Okay, this guy does his own podcast, obviously. He has his camera or microphone there. Tell me, Maggie, what's hollow about Steven Crowder?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Because, as we know, Maggie does not like anyone on the right wing. Steven Crowder is right-winged Canadian. He moved to the United States. He was on Red Eye, I think, in Fox News or Fox at the time, a long time ago. Then he made his own station or made his own podcast. He got...
he hates that, clearly.
Well, yeah, for sure. She hates it. But he got demonetized by YouTube. He hired a lawyer. He made this thing called Mug Club. So he gets paid through that. And he's like any other, like, you know, Ben Shapiro has his own podcast sort of thing. He has his own. He has... Right, yeah. He has a comedian on there. He has a lawyer sometimes. He has a few other guys as guests. And they just shoot the shit. They talk about current events. And he does his normal talk to people. He goes to universities and talks to people. And has like that Change My Mind booth he does. So yeah, no, he's a well-known dude. But I don't think there's anything fake or hollow or him encountering existentialism at all. He has a wife and kids. He seems to live a very happy life compared to Maggie, who is Maggie even married? I don't even know. Yeah, he's hugely successful. Like, he wishes he can get off YouTube because he's not using it for money. He's just using it because it's a big platform. He'd like to go elsewhere. But yeah, no, he's doing well. I don't see him as a hollow man at all, or an angry man at all. What a weird take. All right. Porcelain the fourth. This whole comedian getting pissed off at the audience as a joke shtick isn't exactly new grounds. Bill Burr did it, I believe. Yep. would be funny if the guy came into Maggie's show and said, "How the hell did you come to any of those conclusions?" I know. The comedian getting angry at the crowd is not a new thing, believe me. That's been around for a long, long time. Because comedians get heckled, and they sometimes heckle back. So they're used to it. Anyway.
Existential dread at the core
Bill,
of conservative
Bill Maher.
comedy.
Oh, the existential core of conservative comedy? What?
And you show Bill Maher.
It's about the hollowness and existential dread.
When was Bill Maher a conservative? I had no idea. Does anyone remember?
No idea. I barely know anything about Bill Maher.
He is certainly not a conservative, I can tell you that much. But other than that, no, sir. He is maybe a centrist at best, but no. He's not a left-leaning fellow as much as Jon Stewart is, but he's probably closer to that than he is to the right. And that's me. I don't watch Bill Maher. I might see a few clips on Twitter, but that's about it. No idea.
Second, I need to run to the bathroom. I'll
All
be right
right.
back.
I'm going to go without you.
At the core of conservative comedy.
Okay, we'll edit laughter in there. So.
Oh, Dave Rubin. Wasn't Dave Rubin, and isn't he still a left-leaning fellow? I'm quite sure he was. He was on the Young Turks, and then he stopped that, doing his own thing. And then I think he has one of the top 5 or top 10 political / interview talk show style podcasts. So I don't think he's a gay man. He believes in various left-leaning causes, but he's realized the insanity of what's happened in the past decade, and he's no longer affiliated with those people. In fact, he sort of outdoes the Young Turks at many turns. He's prolific on Twitter, and he even got Elon Musk to respond to him a few times this week, in fact. So no, Dave Rubin is awesome. But of course she knew he was a gay man and left leaning, or else she wouldn't have attacked him. Oh boy. Anyway, here's Maggie Mae attacking Dave Rubin, a gay man who used to be on the Young Turks.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. That's a bad look.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing stuff. So here's Porcelinus the Fourth again. She views Maher as conservative because he said it's dumb to get upset at Corona being called the China virus. Yeah. There was also the time where he jokingly said, "Work in the field, Senator, I'm a house nigger." Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't use the N-word or else you're a racist. any instance of the N-word. Yeah. But Dave Rubin, wow.
That's the beauty of television, people. For the people at home, that was very funny.
I tell a joke, you? Thank you very much.
Real Rob asks its audience to laugh at people and things. This kind of comedy is based on privilege. Rob Schneider probably...
What?
Based on privilege. Bull crap.
The privilege of what? What is she
being rich. I don't know.
Yeah, how are you asking people because you're privileged to laugh at other people? What? How does that work? Is it because Rob is a star, or he's been in Hollywood before? Is that the privilege you're referring to? He has a show? He's a white guy? Like, what is it? The privilege, I'm assuming it's white privilege, because whenever you say privilege, you immediately mean white privilege.
Yeah.
She doesn't explain it, but yeah, it must be that. I don't know.
Won't ever be in a vulnerable situation with any of those people that he's laughing at. He lives in a mansion. He'll write racist bits about various ethnic stereotypes where characters are placed in dangerous situations. But these contrived scenarios aren't even close to anything that Rob Schneider would actually experience in his super rich, cushy celebrity lifestyle.
Yes, this, as we said before, these are all pastiches of Rob. This is not the real Rob. This is what they do in these shows. They make themselves up to be this kind of guy, and they make fun of themselves. Larry David, Seinfeld, etc. Same idea.
He has the power and the privilege to keep the people that he makes racist jokes about away from him in real life. It's the kind of privilege that
Hundreds of Beverly Hills students demand Trump move or defund Metro's West... What? Beverly Hills?
Realize that Beverly Hills is mostly rich white people, right?
Yeah, what does this have to do with anything? I don't... Why would Beverly Hills students ask the ex-president... Or this is done in 2021, so... What? It's just confusing. What the hell's going on here? All right. Oh, jeez. I'm just like, what? She just tone shift this whole thing. Porcelain is the fourth again. For context, Marr was talking to a senator from Alabama, I think, and they were talking politics, of course. And the senator offered Bill to come to Alabama and work in the field of local politics. And Marr made the joke because Alabama had slaves. So like a house cat.
Oh, we're missing context there.
Yeah. All right. I am trying to wrap my brain around what she's saying, but she's bringing something else up. So let's just listen to this.
that stalled the progress of a subway line to Santa Monica because the residents of Beverly Hills didn't want people who take public transportation to come into their neighborhoods. This privilege is best exemplified by the fact that there's 2 seasons of Real Rob on Netflix. Paradox?
What? So wait, people who want to have certain people in their community because the subway allows a whole bunch of people to come in their community, they don't like that. Okay, there's lots of reasons why people don't like random people coming in their community, especially when you're on a subway line or near one. There's all kinds of reasons for that. It's the same argument for having poor residential zoning on your street because you don't want your property value to drop in the near future or in the later future. You want your property value to increase, especially if you're in Beverly Hills. I think that would be kind of an affluent area of the city, or maybe it is its own region or city or district or suburb. I don't know. So I can understand the arguments, but that's all up to city planners, and that's up to voting by the municipal board who's in charge of that. So there's nothing wrong with you petitioning your city board saying we don't want this for whatever reason, because that's what the people want. Like if it was mostly poor people and there's this little community of rich people, it depends on who voted for who in what part of the city. So I'm imagining if the rich part of the city voted for a certain person, they'd petition that councilor, say, hey, don't do this. We want to keep and maintain our wealth, and we don't want, bums or whomever to be walking around. As I would imagine most people do. They don't want vagrants running around on their front lawns. Or having their property value drop if someone buys or develops a lower residential area in their street or neighborhood.
Get your ass off of my lawn, you stinking hippies!
Oh, that's the extreme version, but yeah, that's essentially what it comes down to. Leave us alone. Don't hurt us. If you start having a large immigration or a large group of people running around your neighborhood, make sure they're friendly and nice and adhere to laws. It's basic stuff of finding a place to live and realizing that you're in charge of your finances now, paying off your mortgage and making sure there's no crime in your area, et cetera, et cetera. This is all very complicated stuff. So I understand it, but we need more context than just saying a bunch of rich kids from Beverly Hills are arguing we don't want an influx of vagrants. People don't want that downtown. That happens all the time downtown.
Basically, privilege is also what provides Tim Heidecker with a platform to skewer the same brand of conservative comedy. Not only is privilege...
It's not conservative. What are you talking... How is this conservative comedy? What is...
She's saying it's a parody of conservative comedy.
Sure. But...
I think it's just like he's complaining about like angry white males yelling about how much they hate the current system.
Right, but we can make a similar commentary to Stephen Colbert, who does the same shtick, only he's not angry. He's just more playful and goofy about it because he was never that extreme in the first place. This is just a flavor of that she likes because it's funny to her because she thinks conservatives are angry or something.
Generally, yes. Mostly because the world is crap at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, but we're angry at the crazies, not because we're crazy or if we consider ourselves conservatives, but I don't think we really do. We just sort of look at the nuts over there and go, we're not you. Why are you crazy? Stop that, please. Do something productive. Do something healthy. Don't stand there and whine and moan about student loans and other things when you got yourself into your own mess. But okay, so apparently this is privilege because he's a conservative. I don't know.
What gives Tim the opportunity to get these jokes out to the public in the first place since he has a sizable audience. It's what makes it safe for Tim to viciously mock these attitudes.
I went into a restaurant to get a cheeseburger the other day. I said, can I get a cheeseburger? This guy behind the counter goes, oh, well, we only have veggie burgers, man. With Brussels sprouts and this and that and turkey, not turkey, fuck.
I'm definitely not saying that we need more comedians doing this type of comedy. I wouldn't even argue that this type of satire really does anything or produces any tangible good. I enjoy it and it's funny and I think he makes some interesting observations through his meta humor, but by no
meta humor.
Yeah, so here's the thing about these people. They love meta humor. Even though meta humor is hit or miss and is going to age very, very poorly.
So is that the idea because he's doing satire? It's wait, is that metaphorical humor or is that like beyond the joke? Like there's a joke about being a conservative and you're laughing at him, but he's not the real person. He's just doing a parody of the thing. Is that what she means? Like, I don't understand. What meta...
Go with yeah.
Because he's acting, therefore it's meta humor. Okay. Sure thing, Maggie. I bet there's a whole bunch of comedians, even Dave Chappelle, who's putting on an act. Sometimes he's speaking from the heart normally, and sometimes he's like doing a version of himself. Because most comedians that I've heard, they're telling a story that never really happened, unless they say this actually happened. But there's always an exaggeration or a part of it to make it funny, because that's the point. So
Bill Lip's whole shtick is he is the winner of the Biggest Liars concert because he's a tall tale teller, and it's hilarious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so comedians act. They're doing a set. They have their series of jokes that set up each other. Not all the time. Only sometimes, and sometimes it's only at the start or right at the end, so that there's a nice little bow at the end of what they were saying before. That happens. I noticed that during the 90s as well when I was watching comedy, and it was just kind of cute because when you go to the Montreal Comedy Festival, they have a lot of performances. And because there's so many, to be memorable, you do that sort of little accent at the end or the bow at the end where it just ties it up because it's memorable that way. But it's not necessary. And people just tell jokes like stories that aren't real because they're good storytellers. That's part of being a comedian, is being a good storyteller. So, whew. Okay. Meta comedy. Sure thing, Maggie.
Means do we need a bunch of up-and-coming comedians trying to perform ironic sexism, telling themselves that they're changing the world by being loud white men on stage?
What? Ironic sex? What is that? Let me rewind that.
Ironic sexism, telling themselves that they're changing the world by being loud white men on stage. And I think Tim Heidecker himself will agree with that.
Okay. Oh my God. This is her 5th. Like, what? Does she just want to put on, does she just want to be an actress? Is that all this is?
I think that she is an actress. She's just a crap actress.
Yeah. And she just wants to wear random stupid outfits and say stupid shit, which happens to be YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is accurate. Yeah.
This is her 5th thing. And it's like, Maggie, what are you doing? Your message is getting cloud. The color palette of your shirt confuses me with the message, and now the 5th message you're trying to share with us, because you're freaking bongo.
Bongo, bongo, bongo. Bongo, bongo, bongo.
She may as well be playing a drum and just smacking at different intervals and saying, look, here's my point. Bonk. And you're like, what? It's the same point as before. I don't like this guy. Okay. His color palette is too bright. Okay, sure.
And there are incredible comics and multi-hyphenates working now who are...
Oh, that wasn't her. Oh my God. I couldn't tell.
Cardi? Freaking Cardi B?
I thought that was her. I just looked at that and I saw her chest and I'm like, yeah, that's Maggie. Oh shit, I was wrong. Oh, that's so.
Personify Maggie Mae Fish.
I just objectified Maggie Mae Fish.
I think it's mispersonified, but that works too.
I am so sorry, Maggie. I thought that was you. Oh dear. Okay. It's like, wow, she's really good at that hairstyle, and she looks different there. Oh boy. Okay. It's not her. But these are comedians she likes. Okay, let's go with that.
And there are incredible comics and multi-hyphenates working now who...
Multi-hyphenates? What's a multi-hyphenate?
Let me find out.
Yeah. Are they a brand of comedian?
Person, of course, the jack of all trades.
Oh, it's like Maggie. She does a bit of everything.
It's like a person, especially a celebrity, with several professions or skills. That's it.
Yeah, but that's every actor anyway. Every actor doesn't act. They do other things. So unless they're super rich, then they just wait for parts to get whatever they want.
Or already taking up the reins and pushing into the future of comedy. A lot of times, decisions are made because of what worked in the past. But to be truly innovative, you have to look to the future. I think one of the best things to come out of Tim's exploration of satirical conservative comedy is his role in Us. Through his past work...
I don't even know who this guy is. She's like, just his role in All the Everyday Man. Like, what? Ooh, what are you talking about? All right.
He's able to add a lot to the film thematically through his acting.
What film? What are you talking about? This guy's an actor as well? Oh, it says director Jordan Peele, 2019. Is this
Oh. Hey. I've heard that Jordan Peele is kind of a hit or miss.
What was his movie in 2019? It was Us. Oh, it is Us. Sorry.
I know the people really hate his Twilight Zone remake.
Oh.
Really don't like it.
I haven't seen it. I tend to like Twilight Zone stuff. I like the format. I don't know about a film version of it, though.
wasn't a film, it was a TV show remake.
He did a series?
Yep. And according to the one Twilight Zone fan I have talked to, it's apparently super, super bad.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to give that a shot. I like that kind of stuff. I like The Outer Limits, The Booth at the End. Yeah, like those are, I like those shows. They're like, every week they would have a weird one, or every day sometimes after like 9, 10 o'clock, they'd have these really creepy, weird shows on. And they were interesting stories because all the stories were wild and different. Even Harlan Ellison wrote a few of them as well. So the writing's sometimes very good. And the effects are sometimes cheesy. And the moral at the end is kind of like, oh, that's weird. But I like this stuff. It's really different television at the time. So. Whew.
Choices. Jordan Peele's casts are always excellent. Peele is a comedian, and Tim is a comedian's comedian. Peele saw Tim's past work deconstructing right-wing comedians and brilliantly adapted it to his own critique of neoliberal white suburban couples. So that's pretty cool. So what did we learn by studying the Schneidecker paradox?
You invented a piece of bullshit, and we're trying to follow along with you. We learned nothing, Maggie. You're crazy.
There's nothing at all that you can say that has anything of value.
Yeah.
You are merely insane.
She invented a hypothesis that doesn't make sense, whose conclusion does, like the horseshoe doesn't even, like, no, it doesn't even make sense. The horseshoe theory doesn't make any sense. You're not equating them. You're saying they're different. And you're like, yeah, look at their comedy. They're different. It's like, we agree. Yes. How are they the same? They're not. They're totally different. One's a parody of apparently a conservative, I guess. Could just be a washed up comedian or a guy who's never very good. And the other one is a comedian doing a parody of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Those are different things, Maggie.
Yep.
It's okay, I'm famous.
It's okay, I'm famous.
Oh, wait a minute. Why is it my job to wrap up the video anyway?
It's your video.
Your video, you dumb woman.
It's literally your video with your ideas and your... Okay, whatever.
Huh? Why don't you comment below and tell me what you learned?
You're crazy?
Crazy? You're crazy, you're ugly, and multiple people hate you.
You make stuff up that doesn't make sense and you think it's funny or entertaining. Well, most of us are just confused as to what you're even trying to get at. Yeah, it's
and lost.
Yeah, this is the most lost I've been in any of our videos. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, how does this? You're comparing apples and oranges. You're saying it's horseshoe theory. Then you start going on about color schemes, comparing a show to a special comedy set, which has two colors, two spotlights of magenta and blue, and saying, "Oh, this comedy lands because the colors are so easier to look at." Like, what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. I can't help. I really can't help this lady. Anyway,
I don't think anybody can help this lady.
Yeah,
This lady is seriously drunk the Kool-Aid.
I'm still laughing. I thought that Asian chick was Maggie.
I think that's the first time that anybody has ever said you have you've officially mispersoned somebody.
It's like, wow, Maggie Mae she cut her hair or put a wig on. I was like, what? No.
Oh, that is.
I don't want to offend her as a woman. That's why I don't want to say anything. But I was like, oh wait, no, it's not Maggie. Okay.
I make the video. You what? Comment. Thank you.
What's that? Oh, a brief word from our sponsors.
This video is brought to you by Mubi, a fancy curated streaming service showing the best film festival winners from all around the world. Their curators help you discover hidden gems that you wouldn't have found otherwise. And every day, Mubi premieres a new film. They've got timeless classics, cult favorites, and hard-to-find acclaimed masterpieces. And there's always something new to discover.
All right, whatever.
Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah. All kinds of great films, I'm sure. Oh, here we go.
I was just having a little fun there. It was just a little joke. Okay.
It was not funny. It was also not funny.
Thank you so much to all my...
Oh my! Now it's done. Thank you.
That was crap.
That was creepy.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing, Maggie? Are you trying to be the Rob Schneider you want him to be, or you just doing a stinger for no reason? I don't understand.
Let's go with the latter.
Yeah.
Sounds lazier.
Alrighty, let's see what we got in the wonderful stream memes. Hopefully none, because that was painful. No, we got some. All right, here we go. Okay,
Girls who do cocaine versus girls who do weed.
Which is which? I'm not sure.
I would say the one on the left is girls who do cocaine, and the ones on the right are the ones who smoke weed.
They're probably those vegetarians. They just eat all that grass. Straight from the ground, apparently. Oh, boy. How I feel listening to Maggie.
That is actually probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, part of us wants to do that, just to feel better.
You lying to yourself or just others?
Getting pseudo-intellectual. I like that. I like the iStock photo logo over top. Yeah, Maggie is, I don't know what she is. People call her deep and whatever, but no, she's just doing her own shtick, which is her attempt at comedy and trying to pull in some psychobabble, which is bizarre. It's not even accurate.
Yep.
Where Maggie belongs. I don't know. I'm sure she goes, as an actor, you go through a lot of emotions to perform, but I don't know where her head is at.
Somewhere weird.
Yeah. All right, comments. It is just wild to think that Rob Schneider was once an actual movie star who didn't need to self-fund.
Oh my gosh, it's Lindsay Ellis.
Oh, you're right. Holy shit.
Now, former crown princess of woke YouTube. Now the self-exiled queen of nothing.
Yeah, that's... she herself is self-exiled. You're right. And she was gone last year, right? So she stopped...
Yeah, I think her last video was her one on the terrible Phantom of the Opera sequel.
Right. So I'm imagining this is one of the reasons why this video got so many views, because who the hell cares about Rob Schneider or Tim, whomever? And Lindsay Ellis shared this, and people went, "Oh my god, let's go watch it." I think, or it could be subreddit. I have no idea.
Sourcing something or other.
Broken Girls Are Us. This was so good. It was such a thorough take on the opinions the opposite people might have. No, it's not. Rob Schneider makes the exact brand of content that my homophobic, racist, entitled, bigoted, alcoholic, and abusive father would have. Oh, wow.
Whoa! Okay. Looks like your dad sucks.
Yeah. Or he's Irish. I don't know. It could be one of...
Let's go with Irish because that's funnier.
Yeah. While the special making fun of it is a self-aware take on those types of opinions that would privately make fun of against my father. Yeah, apparently you have daddy issues, much like Maggie. But Maggie has like every other issue, so I don't know. You just listed the ists and phobes of pretty much everyone who says anyone who disagrees with you says. So it's like, oh, except for being a fascist, of course. But pretty close. You got all the major ones. You got racism and homophobia there. And the bigot, that's a sort of all-encompassing one. Alcoholic is new. Entitled, yeah, it's a given. Abusive father, I mean, if you're going to be a father, you're going to be abusive. So it's pretty much, that's a given too. You can't have a father who's loving and caring and be a bigot and be racist. He has to be at least racist if he's going to be abusive. He can't just be abusive. Doesn't work that way. All right. OmniCloud 7 Strife. Oh, God. Wonder where that comes from. In what is absolutely standard, Maggie Mae Fish delivers a funny and insightful look at something like she always does. 10 out of 10. Maggie's amazing again. And I'm just upset that this is a schmuck. Oh, no, of course. Of course this is a guy or girl who likes Final Fantasy VII. So, of course. Mateus, Maggie, I don't think you are doing Tim's show justice. Oh.
I think you're doing any show justice.
Yeah, well, she does have weird tastes, so maybe Tim got a boost just because she had 300,000 views in her video. Who knows? Maggie, you are definitely reaching. Yeah. There's no such thing as gender. Gender exists on a spectrum. There are only two genders. There is only one gender. Women are property. Oh, God. Oh, boy.
That's just hilarious.
I'll be taking my large W. Thank you very much. In total, you spent 220 hours gaslighting women this year. Oh, wow. It's not bad. Let's go for an even 250 there. Oh, it's Mark in 3D. Meet a Maggie. Or are you lying to others or just to yourself? Oh. You guys don't know this reference from, I suggest you go watch Monster or read Monster. There's another one. Why don't you... Oh. Not quite what Johan would have said, but... Yeah. Maggie's a tough sell. She's a mixed bag of crazy and nuts. Well, that's the same thing, really. Entitled crazy? Entitled nuts? I don't know. But that was another month, and that's another Maggie Mae Fish video. So only 22 minutes of crazy. Not bad for the last of the short Maggie Mae Fish videos.
Well, second to last.
Second last. Yeah, there's... Oh, Cats and Fight Club we watched. The Church Girl one. Yeah, geez.
Sorry to bother you, but we haven't done the obligatory Schneider cut live stream or her why she hates the Shining guy, Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. Well, we will figure that out, I'm sure. But right now it's best to go get a drink and dry, or at least moisten our throats and get back to our writing work and my video editing work and everything else we're doing tonight. So we have a nice, relaxing weekend and start the new month. It's always a good sign.
I've been drinking most of this drinking some Gatorade the whole time.
Oh, yeah?
That's why I had to go to the bathroom, is because I drank like an entire liter of Gatorade.
A liter, okay. Well then, you have lots of energy to get back to writing, so that's good. So, good stuff.
I'm going to take a nap. I have work tonight. I'm gonna be awake from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Oh, joy. Okay. Well, thank you so much, guys. All right. We'll call it a day, and we'll talk to you soon. Have yourself a great evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.